In Japan, there's a word that has no direct translation in English, but it captures something deeply universal: komorebi. It refers to the delicate interplay of sunlight as it filters through the leaves of trees. It's that dappled light that dances between the shadows, an expression of the beauty in fleeting, natural moments. But what komorebi really represents goes beyond the play of light. It's a metaphor for a life that doesn't seek greatness in the conventional sense. Instead, it asks us to pause, to notice the beauty in the everyday, and to find contentment in what's right in front of us. This is the art of simplicity, a life lived without the endless pressure to achieve more, but instead, a life in tune with the small wonders that surround us. This idea of appreciating the small things connects deeply with a larger philosophy, one that teaches us to live simply, without constantly striving for more. Throughout history, many thinkers and philosophers have explored what it means to live a good life. Some have said that happiness comes from achieving great things, from always pushing forward and reaching new heights. But others have found joy in a different path, one that's less about ambition and more about contentment. One of these thinkers was Epicurus, a philosopher from ancient Greece. Epicurus believed that happiness didn't come from wealth, power, or fame. In fact, he thought that these things often caused more stress than joy. Instead, he taught that happiness comes from living a simple life, where we enjoy the small, everyday pleasures, things like good food, friendship, and peace of mind. Epicurus believed that most of our unhappiness comes from always wanting more. When we're constantly chasing after bigger goals, we never feel satisfied. We think, I'll be happy when I get that promotion, or I'll be happy when I have more money. But the problem is, once we reach one goal, we often set our sights on the next one, and the cycle continues. We never stop to enjoy what we already have. Epicurus suggested that the secret to happiness is learning to be content with less. He argued that if we can find joy in the basics, a meal with friends, a quiet moment of reflection, we won't need to chase after bigger and bigger things. This doesn't mean we should never have goals or aspirations, but it does mean that we should focus on what truly brings us joy, rather than what society tells us we should want. And that brings us back to komorebi. The sunlight through the trees isn't trying to be something bigger or better. It's just there, quietly beautiful. And in that simplicity, it offers us a moment of peace if we're willing to pause and appreciate it. This idea of finding joy in the simple things is beautifully captured in the film Perfect Days, a 2023 movie directed by Wim Wenders. The film follows the life of a man named Hirayama, who works as a toilet cleaner in Tokyo. At first glance, his life seems uneventful. He wakes up early, goes to work, cleans public toilets, and returns home to his small apartment at the end of the day. There's nothing particularly exciting about his routine, and yet, as the film unfolds, we begin to see that Hirayama's life is filled with quiet moments of joy. Hirayama's days are simple, but he finds pleasure in the little things, listening to music, watering his plants, and observing the world around him. He doesn't need wealth or fame to be happy. In fact, his happiness comes from the exact opposite of what we're often told we need. He enjoys the ordinary parts of life, the things that many of us might take for granted. One of the most striking moments in the film is when Hirayama pauses to admire the sunlight filtering through the trees, a real-life komorebi moment. As he stands there, taking in the beauty of the light, we see that he's fully present in the moment. He's not thinking about the past or worrying about the future. He's just there, appreciating the world as it is. This scene is a powerful reminder of the beauty that exists in the world around us, if we take the time to notice it. Hirayama doesn't need a grand adventure or a life filled with excitement to be happy. He finds joy in the small, simple moments that make up his day, much like the way komorebi shows us the beauty of sunlight through the trees. As we watch Hirayama move through his day, we begin to understand that happiness doesn't have to come from constant ambition or the pursuit of big goals. Instead, it can be found in the quiet routines of daily life. There's a certain peace that comes from accepting life as it is, rather than always striving for something more. One of the most profound aspects of Hirayama's life in Perfect Days is how much meaning he finds in his everyday routine. His job, cleaning public toilets, might seem mundane or even unpleasant to many of us. But Hirayama approaches his work with care and attention. He doesn't rush through his tasks or treat them as unimportant. Instead, he takes pride in what he does, making sure everything is spotless and well maintained. There's a certain dignity in the way Hirayama performs his work. He doesn't seek recognition or praise, but he finds satisfaction in doing his job well. This is something that we can all learn from. No matter what kind of work we do, whether it's seen as glamorous or not, there's value in approaching it with care and dedication. Hirayama's life reminds us that meaning doesn't have to come from big achievements. It can come from the way we approach even the smallest tasks. Whether it's cleaning, cooking, or simply going about our daily routine, there's a sense of fulfillment that comes from doing things with intention. In this way, Perfect Days shows us that a life of simplicity isn't lacking in depth. It's rich with meaning if we choose to see it. This approach to life connects to the teachings of Lao Tzu, the ancient Chinese philosopher who wrote about the importance of living in harmony with nature. Lao Tzu believed that instead of constantly trying to control or change the world, we should learn to go with the flow, to accept things as they are. This idea is at the heart of Hirayama's life. He doesn't resist his circumstances or wish for something different. Instead, he embraces his routine, finding peace in the small, repetitive tasks that make up his day. Lao Tzu's teachings remind us that happiness isn't something we need to chase after. It's something we can find in the present moment, in the things we already have. By accepting life as it is and letting go of the desire for more, we can find a deeper sense of peace and fulfillment. In today's world, it can be hard to imagine living a life like Hirayama's. We are constantly told to do more, to be more, to achieve more. From a young age, we're taught that success means always striving for bigger goals, whether it's getting a promotion at work, buying a bigger house, or reaching the next milestone in our personal or professional lives. Social media, advertising, and even the people around us can make it seem like we're never doing enough, like we always need to be pushing forward. But what Perfect Days shows us, and what many philosophers have argued for centuries, is that this constant pressure to achieve can actually prevent us from being happy. When we're always focused on the next goal, we never fully enjoy the present moment. We're always thinking about what's next, rather than appreciating what we have right now. This mindset can lead to stress, burnout, and a sense of dissatisfaction. No matter how much we achieve, it never feels like enough. We're always reaching for more, but that sense of fulfillment remains just out of reach. The philosopher Epicurus warned against this kind of constant striving. He believed that true happiness comes not from achieving more, but from learning to be content with what we have. Epicurus taught that once our basic needs are met, food, shelter, and companionship, anything beyond that is often unnecessary. In fact, he argued that the more we chase after luxury and excess, the more likely we are to feel unsatisfied. Epicurus's ideas are particularly relevant in today's world, where we're often bombarded with messages that tell us we need more success, more money, more possessions. But by following his philosophy, we can learn to let go of this constant desire for more and instead focus on the simple pleasures of life. As we reflect on the ideas of Komorebi, simple living, and the story of Hirayama in Perfect Days, it becomes clear that happiness doesn't have to come from ambition or success. It can come from something much simpler, being present in the moment, appreciating the small joys of life, and letting go of the need for more. Hirayama's life in Perfect Days is a powerful reminder that we don't need to live in constant pursuit of bigger and better things to find fulfillment. By focusing on the present, by finding joy in our daily routines, and by embracing the beauty in the ordinary, we can live a life that is just as rich and meaningful as any other. In the end, maybe the greatest achievement isn't in reaching the top, but in finding peace where we are. Maybe true happiness comes from learning to appreciate the sunlight filtering through the trees, the quiet moments of stillness, and the simple pleasures that make up our everyday lives.